Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 29 of 2025, starting July 14th. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues in Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar, Collecting Insights. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. From regional houses to multinational operations, the Antiquarian Outlook covers what happened last week in rare books. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below, along with links to the various auctions mentioned in this program. Okay, let's get into last week's results. Tuesday, Desa Unicum in Poland had old maps and city views. There were 98 lots offered, of which 42 sold, making for a 42.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 3. This 16th century map of Poland. Estimates were set at $6,000 to $8,000, realizing $7,000, the equivalent of $2,294. A past lot of note, this panorama by Werner, executed in 1740. Estimates were set at $12,000 to $18,000, the equivalent of around $3,000 to $4,600. Still with Tuesday, New England Book Auctions had fine books and ephemera. There were 206 lots offered, of which 200 sold, making for a 97% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was Lot 113. This publication from 1863 related to the geology of Massachusetts, which realized $1,400. On to Wednesday, Bellmans Auctioneers had printed books, maps, and manuscripts. There were 132 lots offered, of which 110 sold, making for an 83.3% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 308, this early print book published in Cologne in 1481. Estimates were set at £3,000 to £5,000, realizing £14,000. Past lot of note, Lot 401, this first edition, fourth impression of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, published in 1997. Estimates were set at £500 to £800. A lot that exceeded expectation was Lot 376. This highly varied collection of printed and manuscript material dated between the 17th to the 20th century. Estimates were set at £700 to £1,000, realizing £3,800, as well as Lot 391. This photograph album, including views of Sydney, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Manila, dated from around 1880. Estimates were set at £700 to £1,000, realizing £3,200. On to Bonhams, they had their travel and exploration sale. There were 183 lots offered, of which 142 sold, making for a 77.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 105, this portrait of Mahatma Gandhi done in 1931 by Claire Leighton, realizing close to £153,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 181, this private logbook kept by Audrey Howard Ninnis, documenting the Endurance Expedition, dated between 1914 to 1916. Estimates were set at £4,000 to £6,000, realizing just above £46,000. Chiswick Auctions had Photographica. There were 356 lots offered, of which 292 sold, making for an 82% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for 68, a Central Asian travel archive, compiled around 1898. Estimates were set at £200 to £300, realizing £3,780. A buy-in of note, this print done by Carlton E. Watkins, created around 1870. Estimates were set at £1,000 to £1,500. A lot that exceeded expectation was 125. This South Asian album, put together in 1878, some of its images depicting the Great Famine. Estimates were set at £300 to £500, realizing £2,772. Finally, for Wednesday, University Archives had rare autographs, manuscripts, and books. There were 457 lots offered, of which 449 sold, making for a 98.2% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was Lot 62, this signed carte de visite by Gardner of Abraham Lincoln, done in 1863. Estimates were set at $100,000 to $150,000, realizing $90,000. A buy-in of note, Lot 53, John Kennedy's personal 6-volume set of the history of Ireland. Estimates were set at $15,000 to $20,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 237, this partially printed document signed by David Hunter, declaring freedom from slavery for Jupiter Jameson along with his whole family. Estimates were set at $4,000 to $5,000, realizing $16,000. Thursday, PBA Galleries had fine literature, mysteries and sci-fi, Bukowski beats, and the counterculture. There were 537 lots offered, of which 385 sold, making for a 71.6% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 426, 27 issues of Beatitude, dated from 1959 through to 1987. Estimates were set at $4,000 to $6,000 realizing $5,625 A buy-in of note, lot 99. This copy of American Big Game Fishing, inscribed and gifted by Hemingway. Estimates were set at $10,000 to $15,000 A lot that exceeded expectation was this first edition of Jack London's The Cruise of the Dazzler, published in 1902. Estimates were set at $500 to $800 realizing $2,812 as well as lot 136, another Jack London first edition, this time The Cruise of the Snark, published in 1911. Estimates were set at $300 to $500 realizing $2,000. Finally, Forum Auctions had fine books, manuscripts, and works on paper. There were 254 lots offered, of which 202 sold, making for a 79.5% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for lot 249. This album done by George Sowerby, comprised of 22 leaves of original watercolors of fossils from the Cheltenham area from around 1840. Estimates were set at £6,000 to £8,000, realizing £17,000. A buy-in of note, this 1490 copy of Perotti's Encyclopedia of Antiquity. Estimates were set at £6,000 to £8,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 98. This first edition copy of Agatha Christie's Cards on the Table, published in 1936. Estimates were set at £1,500 to £2,000, realizing £9,000. For a hyperlinked list of next week's auctions we have an eye on, please get in touch with us directly. For those interested in understanding the industry deeper, registration is still open for the Collecting Insights webinar in August at the Emerging, Expanding, and Legacy levels. As always, all registrants will receive a complimentary copy of contemporary issues in rare book and manuscript collecting. Please follow the links below in the description, and we look forward to receiving your registration. Well, that's been the week from here. What'd you think of last week's results? Anything surprise you? Anything you had your eye on? Put some comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on your notifications, and let others know about this program. Thanks again. All for now. See you next week.